There you go.
So Taco Truck Theater, Teatro Sin Fronteras, is directly inspired by Luis Valdez and his radical Teatro Campesino ensemble. And in the 60s and 70s, Teatro Campesino was the social justice theater arm for the United Farm Workers, UFW, led by Cesar Chavez. So Luis Valdez and Teatro Campesino put together a show exploring and chronicling the migrant labor abuses, the horrible wages, the horrible working and living conditions from the migrants in California, predominantly Mexican, who were bringing all the grapes, picking all the vegetables, the avocados, bringing the food to people's table in the general public, but yet suffering in the shadows of a very abusive industry. So the United Farm Workers was established, and Luis Valdez put together the Teatro Campesino. And on flatbed trucks, they literally had the ensemble travel to union halls, travel to parks, travel to the public domain in general, and the troupe performed the struggles of the migrant laborers. In Comedia dell'arte, comedic and dramatic, with masks and máscaras, to really expose the abuses. And it became one of the most radical and iconic situations where theater and social justice converge. At the time, if you can imagine, in the 60s and 70s, there were no Latino theater centers or theaters where Latinos or Chicanos could actually perform their work. So, 60s, 70s, right? Now, here we are. In 2013, I decided to launch this project, and I got the first grant. It's a project that's already been 4 years in development. And inspired by that, now I'm telling the stories of immigrants under persecution during this anti-immigrant hysteria. That not only began with this particular individual that just rose to the White House captain's chair preaching hate and fear of the immigrant, but that began really post-Bush with the entire attacks on 9/11, when the demonization of Muslims erupted, and the demonization of immigrants, because shortly thereafter the border was looked upon, and then Mexican immigrants were beginning to be called illegal. And one of our actual loudly screamed or performed statements is that no human being is illegal. People may be without papers, but we have to really look at the legality of a country like the United States, built on the blood of genocide, enslavement of Africans. And if you're going to set up a wall, you should set up a wall before the 1848 Hidalgo Treaty, and that would bring you from Texas all the way up to Washington, which was appropriated by Uncle Sam's hunger to manifest imperial destiny, and appropriate all those territories from Mexico. So there's a lot of Chicanos and Latino scholars who are saying, oh, you want to build that wall? Why don't you begin with the 1848, before that treaty, before the United States invaded and took those lands? So whose land is it? So what I'm doing with the Taco Truck Theater and creating this mobile project is exploring the stories of today, right? Inspired by that mobile theater production then, and now we have a truck. We have a collaboration with Heidi, because this is also very much a black and brown collaboration. We have a very diverse ensemble, African American, Euro Americans, myself as a Latino American, and we're exploring not only the dehumanization of immigrants, but also we align ourselves with the Black Lives Matter movement, and we explore that parallel struggle of black and brown people under a system that denies its people of color equal access and equal justice. So being a performance artist who's very much engaged with social justice idea, I thought, why not have a vehicle that can move with the stage so that we can go out to Kenner. I'm talking to El Pastor Oscar Gallardo. I'm talking about bringing the show out to Kenner. We're going to raise the funds so that we can go and perform the show out for the Kenner community out there. We drove the truck to Tulsa. Not only did we do shows at Living Arts of Tulsa, a very well-known art space, but we also went to the Church of Guadalupe in the immigrant community, the heart of the immigrant community in Tulsa, took out the stage and did 2 shows there for the Latino immigrant community. And that way it allows me to move the show. And then while we were there, we just, where we go, we connected with a pop-up taco vendor, and we sold tacos as well, and they sold them independently. The same way we're working with Heidi. But with Heidi, we're very effectively working on developing a menu that's like a hybrid Latin Creole vegan situation, right? Because we want to have people have various options, but we also want to make sure that food is part of the project. So at Ashe, we'll be in the parking lot. We set up the stage. The 35 minutes are performed outside. Then we go inside, but we open each show an hour beforehand, where the food is available, so people can have an experience, have food, and experience the music and the performance, which is dramatic, moving, and very comic as well. But it's driven by this eclectic music, live art, sound bed.